You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along.
Could you sing any song 500 times? This week's guest, Robert Bacon of the 91 Donkey Lane podcast, is going to do just that with this week's featured song. While the Proclaimers had a catalog of hits throughout the UK, it was only after it appeared in 1993's Benny and June that the song made any traction in the States. Together, Bacon, Matt, and I decide if this song was one-hit thunder or if they should have havered alone.
I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. One hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed, and you can live off royalties forever. And it makes me wonder, is it just a wonder, or is it one hit thunder?
All right, so Bacon, we're here today to talk about the Proclaimers. And right off the bat, I'd like to know, why did you choose the Proclaimers?
I chose this because on another podcast that I do, a really stupid thing happened. And basically, long story short, I'm going to have to sing this song in the style of 99 bottles of beer on the wall. So I'm going to sing I Would Walk 500 Miles, whole thing, all the way through. And then start the song immediately again, and I have to say, I will walk 499 miles and sing the whole song like that until we reach zero.
The entire song?
The entire song, all the way through, 500 times. We did the math. It's probably going to take about 30 hours with some breaks for eating and going to the bathroom.
Oh my God. When are you going to start? When is this happening?
We are not exactly sure yet. I got to finish up this YouTube video I'm working on, and it's the very next thing that we're going to be working on is this 30-hour live stream where it's me and my roommate. He's going to have a board behind me with like the numbers, going to cross it off. We're going to do special things for special numbers. It's going to be really stupid. It's going to be descent into madness. I'm not even sure if it's even possible. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm getting scared. A lot of things. So this song has a lot of meaning to me right now.
Yeah, dude.
Bacon, real quick, just because I think the video is fascinating. You are working on a YouTube series as we speak right now that's taking prominence. Do you want to talk about that real quick before we really dive into the Proclaimers?
Oh, sure. Try to stick with me on this stuff. I mean, if I lost you at the Proclaimers, I'm definitely going to lose you at this one. I'm doing a NFL uniform review series on YouTube. I'm really into sports uniforms, like the design, the aesthetic of all of it, like the different rules in the NBA compared to like the NFL of like what works and what doesn't. And it's just a random nerdy thing that I really like. And I found that like more and more people seem to be into it. And any review series that's on like the internet is just a clickbaity slideshow. They have like one sentence explaining like, this is why this is the worst uniform in the NFL. And then they just go up and it's really boring and lame and no effort put into it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put a ton of effort into it. I'm going to take all these uniforms. I'm going to put them into tier classes. I'm going to explain in detail why, even if you don't know anything about the NFL or anything about uniforms, I just want to like dive into that. And I wanted it to be funny. And so far it's going really well.
Nice. I mean, if you were to watch all of them combined, it would be the length of a feature-length movie, which is ridiculous.
Nice. Hey, man, I'm from Pittsburgh, so we're probably one of the better ones, right?
Spoilers, it's 100%. Okay. So there's categories that go awful, bad, close, good, great, and then the top category is grand and wonderful.
Right.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the grand and wonderful category. Yeah. One of the best uniforms in the NFL for a really long time. Iowa Hawkeyes just straight up to ask them, hey, can we use your look? And they're like, go right ahead. Right. So the Iowa Hawkeyes are the Pittsburgh Steelers, essentially.
Right.
In college football. Steelers got a really cool one-sided logo on their helmet, and they leave the other side blank. That's a really like awesome way to set yourself apart. They do a great job with their color scheme of breaking stuff up. I could talk about it forever. I'll stop now. But if that sounded semi-interesting to you with some jokes put in there, check it out on YouTube. Just look up Robert Bacon.
All right, so now let's talk about the Proclaimers. I stalled this as much as I could. Here we go.
Yeah.
As far as the Proclaimers go, first of all, when it comes to your live stream, man, dude, I can't imagine once you're fucking 7 hours into that thing being like, oh my God, I got 23 hours to go.
I tried a little like test run where I tried to listen to it 2 times in a row. It did not go well.
Are either of you How I Met Your Mother fans? Because that's what I always think of with this song.
No, I haven't.
I've never seen it, but I've talked to people about this idea, and that's the first thing that comes up. So now I definitely need to check out this episode. Can you explain this episode?
So it's actually a gag that runs throughout the entire series, but it's introduced in the second season that Jason Segel's car, when he first bought the car, he bought the single for I Would Walk 500 Miles. And it's been stuck in the cassette player, and he has no ability to turn on the radio or anything. So wherever he goes, whatever he does, he can only listen to the song I Would Walk 500 Miles the entire time. And it's specifically an episode where they're doing a flashback to them doing a road trip across the United States, with that being the only song to listen to the entire time. And there's a point where they pick up a hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker's like, this song's really annoying, and they're like, give it some time, it'll come around. And then it like jump cuts to like an hour later, and all three of them are like da 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 in the back of the car.
This song is the best song in the world. It's the only song I like. Just kidding. Tape's been stuck in the player for like 2 years. Better than nothing, though. I am so sick of this song. Don't worry, it comes around again. What do you mean? Just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles and falls down at your door.
I have such a love-hate with this song because it is so annoying, so catchy. But I will say, digging into like the back catalog of this band, I think I'm a Proclaimers fan now.
Wow. I mean, okay. I mean, I agree. I was very surprised to listen to the rest of this album and then subsequent albums and been like, this isn't horrible. I'm kind of enjoying a lot of these songs.
Yeah, and I think that like the fact that their origins come from punk music, which is like on paper is completely insane. Like when you're like, oh, the Proclaimers, their inspirations were like Black Flag and the Sex Pistols and the Clash. I'd be like, the fuck you say? But like,
yeah, what? Where is that?
But then when I listen to it, it's like, you know what? Like they like their first big hit in the UK was like an angry song about what the unemployment rates were. And like a lot of their like other songs, there's like a lot of like anger in the delivery. And I kind of get it now. Like I listen to it, I'm like, I can see this being like two dudes who fucking loved 70s punk rock music, but all they had were like some pianos and some key and some acoustic guitars, and we're like, well, we got to do what we got to do. And like, when they first debuted, someone described them as a perfect mixture of folk music and post-punk. And I kind of, after listening to like hours of their music over the last couple days, I hear it. I absolutely hear it.
You know, this song, when I hear the song we're talking about here, 500 Miles, it kind of seems like it's a song that was just exists. That this song was going to exist whether the Proclaimers played it or not, and they kind of just grabbed it. And because I can't imagine a world without this song, it just seems like it's just always has been and will be. It took a couple of Scottish identical twin brothers, which one thing I did notice about them is that they wear slightly different colored glasses to differentiate themselves, which I think is really cool of them, you know, between Craig and Charlie. So you could tell who's who. I think that's pretty cool.
Their demo was done by Kevin Rowland of Dixie's Midnight Runners, who obviously like future episode of the podcast for sure. But like Kevin Rowland is also like, if you dig deeper into his back catalog and like what his vision of with Dixie's Midnight Runners, like that also makes sense. Like this was very clearly that they were part of that UK 80s, like post-punk new wave scene, but they definitely sounded the least like they belong there.
Yeah, I mean, they are folk music, 100%, but they're like that rowdy folk band in a bar at like 2 a.m. where you're like, that band was amazing. I can't, like, who were they? They'd be like, the Proclaimers. Be like, man, was it me or did those guys look alike? No, dude, they were twins. They were twins. Are you sure those dudes were twins? Definitely twins. Different colored sunglasses, but twins. 100%. Holy shit, I just thought I was drunk. We need to find out if they have a CD, and that's how they started.
Right. And dude, I watched them play. I watched an old performance of them playing on Letterman, and they were good. they sounded exactly like the album, and no doubt they're good players and good singers, and I was definitely impressed. I didn't think I would be so much, but it was a great performance, man. And then Letterman interviewed them after, and it was an interview of Letterman going, "What are you saying? I can't understand what you're saying.
Oh,
you guys are Scottish. I can't understand." It was kind of awkward, but great performance, man, for sure.
And it's funny because like the song "I Would Walk 500 Miles" was like an immediate hit in the UK. Well, it was a modest hit in the UK. It hit number 11, but it was number 1 in Iceland, New Zealand, and Australia. But no one knew it in the States until like 93 when it was in Benny and June. And like then it became the number 3 song in the United States, and it's the only US hit. So that's like if you're from the UK, you're probably like, why the fuck are they talking about the Proclaimers? They've had so many hits, but like for us over in the States, this is all we really have been exposed to.
Right. And Benny and June, I haven't seen. The only thing I know of Benny and June is the Proclaimers music video, which is them on a green screen with clips of Benny and June playing behind them.
Yes.
And the only thing I can tell about that movie is that Johnny Depp in that movie is very, very whimsical. That's all I know.
So it's weird because like it's a weird movie to begin with, but it's basically that Johnny Depp is a weird guy. He's neither Benny nor June in that movie. Oh. Benny and June refer to a brother and sister where the sister has Asperger's and she falls in love with Johnny Depp's whimsical nature, and the brother is very protective of her about that. But like all he does is just recreate Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin moments. Like,
yeah, I was just gonna say,
like that's his whole thing is just like, oh, I'm just gonna do this Buster Keaton bit. Oh, I'm gonna do this Charlie Chaplin bit, and crowds love him for it as it's happening. No one's like, who's this obnoxious guy wandering around the park kicking a hat all over? They're just like, oh, children, gather around, let's watch.
I mean, just straight up ripping off Charlie Chaplin and just doing that in the thing and just being like, wow, isn't this guy so like cool and neat and special? And you're like, no, he just has a bunch of old Charlie Chaplin VHSs and he's just doing them again. Is he good at it? Yes. Is he charming? Yes. I don't understand it.
Hey, one thing I definitely want to talk about in this song, which another thing that I learned today about the Proclaimers. A lot of things I learned today about the Proclaimers, but I always assumed there's a line in this song. It's maybe the line or 2 lines after the line about, and if I get drunk.
Yeah.
And what I thought he was saying, and if I heaver, then you know I'm going to be the man that's heavering to you. But I guess what he's saying is havering, which means I always just assumed that meant throwing up. It just I'm heavering. I'm heavering up all these drinks, but it actually means to talk foolishly, to chatter. So I learned that today. You know, for 20 some years, I've thought that meant that he was throwing up.
Are you going to start to use haver in your like regular vernacular now?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to try to use it today.
One of the things that like kind of was both not shocking, but very shocking to me when I was researching this was that according to the Proclaimers, the earnings that they make on the song 500 Miles is 5 times the earnings of their entire 3-decade-long catalog combined.
Yep.
Yeah, like it makes sense, but it's also just like, that's a lot. Like that's because they have 11 albums. They've never stopped performing since 1983. And I know, Bacon, you wanted us to talk about their newest release, Angry Cyclist.
Yes. Their newest album, Angry Cyclist. Albums, you know, it's insane how listening to it was essentially like listening to their first album.
Yeah, it's more of the same.
You know, they know who they are and they've stuck with it. So, and I have no problem with that. The problem is the cover on this thing might be one of the worst covers on an album that I have ever seen. This is an audio medium, so I'll just try to explain that it's bike gears, one big bike gear, and then below that is another bike gear. Inside of that is another bike gear.
I'm checking.
But if you look, yeah, if you look, it's not centered. So the one in the middle is slightly higher. So there's like a slight gap below the bottom two, and that rolls into the top. And then, hold on, I just wrote everything down. Let me see here. The middle gear isn't centered. There's gaps in the bottom of the gear. And the upper left of the big gear, there's this random red spot where they photoshopped and forgot to fix it. In the middle gear, at the top part, it goes over the bottom gear. So somebody made this, and I'm not even Photoshop. I'm going to assume that this was done in PowerPoint. Made this album cover, and it is horrendous. It's disgusting. That's all I wanted to say about it.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's pretty bad. It looks like it was made in 1 minute. I don't know if I agree with Matt so much on being a Proclaimers fan after digging into this catalog either, because there was a lot of really, I don't know, soft acoustic songs that I wasn't feeling. The only thing that I actually kind of liked is they covered The Temptations' Get Ready, and I thought that was pretty good.
That was good.
But once again, it's it's not as good as The Temptations, so I don't really know what the point of listening to the Proclaimers version of it is, but it was still okay. I enjoyed
their cover of King of the Road by Roger Miller as well.
Okay.
But all I could find was the live version of them playing that on the BBC, which starts with them saying something along the lines of like the song that's swiftly dropping off the charts, and then like immediately start playing it. So it's like I like that there's like a self-deprecation to them as well. Like I don't think the Proclaimers are taking themselves seriously and have not taken themselves seriously for 3 decades.
Right.
Yes. When they're having fun or they're covering other songs, I have a fun time listening to them. My problems come when they try to do like a slower song or like maybe something a little bit more serious, like the song Teardrops, which my least favorite song out of anything that I've heard from them.
I sent you the Spotify playlist, and you literally messaged me and said, I need you to put Teardrops on this.
You need to listen to Teardrops. You need to play it right here. The part where he goes, teardrops running down your face, teardrops. It's so cringe-inducing. It's such a horrible, horrible song.
I mean, it sounded pretty good when you were singing it, but, but
teardrops.
Why don't you just sing that 500 times?
Oh my God. Might be more possible.
Yeah, you're just like, hey, I know you tuned in for the only song you know by the Proclaimers, but here's a little deep cut for 500 rounds.
Oh God.
Hey, we like to look at what was going on at that time in music to kind of get some context on how that song became a hit, because sometimes you'll think a song, oh, that's not that great of a song, but then you see what's going on at that time and you're like, oh, well, compared to those songs, yeah, it is pretty good.
And this is, I'll let you still say it, Chris, but this is the wildest collection of 4 songs that were topping the charts that we've had in a really long time.
Ooh.
Yeah. So number 1 at the time was.
Well, hold on. What year is it?
Oh yeah. Do you want to take a guess?
Yeah. So it was August 21st, 1993 was when this peaked at number 3.
Number 3, 1993. Oh, okay. This is probably not a good time for me to remember music.
Yeah. I'll give you a hint of what number 1 was.
Oh, the theme from Jurassic Park, probably number 1.
No, I'll give you this hint. It's a jock jam.
Oh. No. I ordered these wrong, Chris. That's number 2 to the cover. The cover is the number 1 song.
I love the number 1. But
okay, so is the number 1 a jock jam? No,
definitely not.
No,
okay,
number 2 is definitely definitively a jock jam.
Oh, so the number 2 has to be the theme from the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, or basically every other song in that time period on jock jams.
Close. It was
unbelievable.
Oh no! But that's a good one. But
damn it,
no, close. Whoop! There it is.
By Tag Team.
My God. Wow.
So imagine you're driving around, you're listening to Casey Kasem doing his top charts. You've just
me, Casey Kasem. Yeah.
and he's just finished playing the Proclaimers, and now he's about to go into number 2. Whoop, there it is by the Tag Team.
What's crazy about that is there was Whoop, There It Is was out around that time by Tag Team, but there was also a song called Woot, There It Is by this band. I think they were called 95 North, but they were both out at the same time. It was both the same. It was both Whoop, There It Is, and Woot, There It Is was Woot, There It Is. It was like the same song, except Whoop or Woot.
So was it just a common saying back in the day? Do you guys remember? Was anybody saying, whoop, there it is?
I guess maybe it's just been a saying forever. Now that you put it that way, like it probably was, but I don't know. It's like if the Proclaimers reached out and grabbed this song out of thin air that just existed, maybe Tag Team and 95 North just did it at the same time, I guess, and just misinterpreted it a bit,
Hey there, I am Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold, and I've got a podcast called Drinks with Johnny you're going to want to check out. I sit down with a bunch of different people from all different walks of life, from professional wrestlers to actors, comedians, fighters, musicians, everything in between. I'm just looking to make some friends and have a good time doing it. So if that sounds like something you're into, go check out Drinks with Johnny, streaming everywhere now.
Hi, this is Krista Makes, host of Krista Makes a Podcast. The theme of the podcast is songwriting. Each week, my musical guest picks a defining song from their career to discuss, critique, and analyze during the show. So please join me for some fun and insight into some of the greatest songs ever written and recorded. Listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com.
You mentioning that reminded me that like 90s hip hop had this weird, and into like the early 2000s had this weird like call and response thing going for it. Like TLC put out No Scrubs, and then Sporty Thieves put out No Pigeons, which was like their like response to that song. Or like there was the Future One Hit Wonder put out the song Fuck It, Iman, and then someone named Frankie put out the song Well Fuck You Back. And I was
wow.
I never even thought to do that. That's pretty cool.
Maybe that's what Punchline needs to do is like wait for the next big pop punk song and then just write a response to it.
I want to write a response to some really like I Will Always Love You. I want to write the response to that,
Write a response to Truth Hurts.
I will always love you too. Whitney.
Well, let's get into what was the number one song at that time, because Chris, you've like actively stated this as an all-time favorite a few times now.
Well, all-time favorite might be a little bit of a stretch, but maybe all-time favorite as far as cover songs is it's Can't Help Falling in Love with You by UB40. Taking a pretty I'm not an Elvis fan really, but UB40, man, they knocked that out of the park for the Sliver soundtrack.
Oh my God. UB40 is the band that everybody thought was black dudes, but it turned out to be super white guys.
Yeah.
They were the Rick Ashley of reggae, was basically like their thing. And then I just threw this in there because I thought it was fun, but directly behind. So again, we're going to Casey Kasem. Right before he got to the Proclaimers, he had to announce, and at number 4, we've got Onyx Slam. Which,
what? Slam.
Let the boys be boys. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
What an awful time for music. This song is a goddamn gem. If that's what was playing, then this song is a masterpiece. No,
so not a Sticky
way.
Fingers fan is what I'm getting about Bacon. Here.
Let the boys be boys.
Look, Slam, I could take it or leave it, and I do like the UB40 song, but you want to talk about bad. Matt put some of the other biggest singles of that year. And now this is where
okay.
I'm
interested.
Hadaway, What Is Love was one of the biggest songs.
Oh God. Before it was ironically like, okay.
Yeah. Snow Informer.
Oh, Informer. Blah, 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 blah. She let me boom boom down. I know that one.
That's the one. Four Non Blondes, What's Up?
Oh, okay.
Also before it was ironic to like.
Yeah. I you know what? I don't know if I not ironically like that song. I think I like that song.
Okay. And then the biggest single of the year, Meatloaf, I'd Do Anything for Love.
Good God, that one needs a response.
Yeah. So would I.
It's just called like, nah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever find out what the thing was that he wouldn't do for love?
That's a good
I'm gonna
question.
check. I'm gonna research that because I feel like there was eventually an answer to that.
It had to be like maybe getting married. I'll do anything for love, but get married.
Right. I don't know. I always, if I had to guess, it would be maybe like share his lover with somebody else. I don't know why. I don't know why I like assume that was it. I will tell you that the extended version of I'd Do Anything for Love, I don't know. It's like 8 or 9 minutes long. And I remember one of me and my asshole friend's favorite thing to do would be to, I remember doing this in Pizza Hut for some reason, was to put that song on repeat in the jukebox and just, leave.
Wow. I mean, you get all your money's worth with that one at least.
Hell yeah, you do. You get for $2, that song could be playing for a couple hours, especially back when we were doing it.
Okay,
Matt,
since we're never going to do a Meatloaf episode, here's what I found for it. It says each verse mentions 2 things that the man will do for love, followed by the one thing that he will not do. The title phrase repeatedly asserts that he won't do that. Each that is referenced as a particular promise that he made earlier in the same verse. The 4 things that he says he'll never do is forget the way you make me feel right now, forgive myself if I don't go all the way tonight, do it better than I do it with you, and stop dreaming of you every night of my life. When asked about the song on VH1 Storytellers, Meatloaf said, "It's sort of like a puzzle, and I guess it goes by, but they're all great things. I won't stop doing the beautiful things, but I won't do any of the bad things. It's quite noble. I'm very proud of that song because it's very much like this out-of-this-world Excalibur. To me, it's like Sir Lancelot or something, just noble and chivalrous. It's my favorite song on the record."
You know what? I agree. Meatloaf is an opera. You got to listen to the whole album. You got to listen to all 9 minutes of that goddamn song. When you're in the mood, Meatloaf knows what he's doing, and it's fantastic. But just like throughout life, I don't like to hear a Meatloaf song on the radio. I don't want like Paradise by the Dashboard Light coming on because it kind of just like, it feels like it's such a giant epic song that it doesn't belong in normal everyday life. Enough Meatloaf. Get back to the Proclaimers.
Yes.
That is perfect. What a transition.
We definitely need to do that. What more is there to say about the Proclaimers now?
So one thing I thought was, I feel like this has come up quite a few times on the show, but the song was primarily written by Craig in the band, and he said that he is pretty sure that he wrote the song in like under 45 minutes. And at the time, he thought it was a good song. It maybe had single potential, but he did not think it would be their biggest song. And I feel like that's come up a lot on this show, that like a ton of the songs that are big songs are like the ones where they're just like, yeah, we had an idea and it kind of wrote itself real quick.
That's the way it works, man. And it's crazy. The most simple songs and the songs that take 5 or 10 minutes to write end up becoming the most popular. Or you could spend a month writing a song and it's intricate and you feel like it's your greatest piece of music you've ever created and nobody cares. It just seems to be that way, man. It's almost like the most basic, simple things that are almost like nursery rhymes are what stick in people's minds and become hit songs. That's definitely a common theme on here and just for songwriting in general.
Well, and I have a question for you real quick on that topic, because I'm not much of a musician, and I know Bacon, I don't think Bacon's much of a musician. We'll find out when he sings a song for 30 hours. But but like for Punchline, or I guess, you know what, we'll expand it to everything. For Another Cheetah, for Pack, for all the bands that you are in and have been in, what do you remember? What's the song that you wrote the quickest versus what's the song that took the absolute longest for you to finalize?
In Punchline, we had this song that we called The Hit. Do you know that song?
I do know that one.
Which we made a music video for and everything, we made a pretty cool music video for that song, actually. But that song was one of those songs where it was just like, when one practice, we're like, wow, it just came together in like I don't know, 15 minutes. And it was like, everything was like, well, that's the song. And it was kind of like this magical thing that just happened. And we didn't really even change it when we recorded it months later. And then on that same album, there's a song, I forget what it's even called, Photograph or something. That like,
I know that one.
That we like, yeah. That we like. I don't even know the name of my own band song. It's called "Developing You." Yeah.
Yeah.
And that song went through like 20 different changes, and we were just like, we gotta make this song work. We just tried to make it work forever. And when I listen to that song still today, I hear that in it. I'm like, oh, we were just trying so hard to make that song work, and it just, in my head, it doesn't work. And yeah, so, and I think the hit was a way better song, a song that just kind of happens. And another one of those songs is the Another Cheetah song, Shoulda Known. That one just kind of happened. Like, I got together with those guys. We were like a new band, and that was like the first song that we came up with, and it just happened, you know. And I think it's our best song. And I think, you know, you'll see that in a lot of these, not just one hit wonders, but people in general, their biggest hits a lot of times end up being songs that didn't take them very long to write. Beatles talk about that a lot. The Beatles were the ones who I heard talk about, I think John Lennon and Paul McCartney said that, you know, if they spend more than half an hour, 45 minutes or something writing a song, they're like, oh, that's not good. Like, you know, so.
Yeah. And I think that applies to a lot of things in art. I mean, obviously, like, you know, like a painting or like a sculpture, you know, takes time no matter what you do, but the idea that comes for it. And I think that just kind of happens in a lot of things that you do. You know, I make stupid YouTube videos, and these uniform reviews are taking forever to do, right? But my biggest video that I ever did was a video called Shit Chicago and Say, back when that like shit New York says, shit girls say was like popular.
Right.
And that blew up and became a little viral video. And I'm like, that I barely spent any time on that. And my other videos will get like a couple thousand views.
Right. It's all, yeah, in comedy for sure. You know, that's a lot of times that's why improv is so good, is and can be so funny when people are on. It could be way more funny than something that's sat down and scripted and wrote, because these ideas come from the top of your head, and sometimes that's the funniest. And it works the same way with music, and I'm sure it works the same way with a lot of things. Ideas, people that have good ideas tend to have lots of them, and they come in spurts, you know, and so it makes sense. It makes sense when it comes to music too.
How does that bleed into like with something like 91 Donkey Lane? You know, I was lucky enough to be on an episode, but it was very much just like, you sent me a 1-sentence description of what the premise was. And then we hit record and we just did the whole thing. But like, if you sit down and listen to like episodes of 91 Donkey Lane, like, as much as it's improvised, there's times where like you and Nate are playing multiple different characters. There's like all this other audio design going on in the background. So it's kind of a mixture of both, yeah, we just sat down and kind of shit it out type attitude, but then also like there's a very loving additional post-production work that goes into like making it feel even more effortless than it already was as an improv thing.
Well, thank you. That's really nice. They said that. That's what we're going for. That is a lot of improv. The longer, like, Nate and I have been doing improv for, I don't know, over 10 years each. And you kind of find your groove in improv of, you want to, for a show like 91 Donkey Lane, of, we're going to improvise this. Here's this one idea that we had, and we're going to see where it goes, because it allows us to be like, all right, we could always stick with this idea that we had, but if we find something better along the way, or add things that could be added to our mythos, things that could change the whole house, we welcome that, because, you know, we love all ideas. Just keep sending in ideas. And it's really easy to say no to an idea. Somebody like, oh, what if we do this? No, it's really easy to say no. But it's way harder to say yes, and then to add on, and then to move on to stuff like that. And that's why, you know, improv's going through a really hard time right now, because of obviously the pandemic, and IO theaters closing. Second City's not doing really well. Improv Boston closed down. But, you know, those theaters are going to go away because they're businesses, but improv is going to be around forever, because it's such a great way to make ideas and to flourish with ideas. And it's a fun way of thinking. Nate and I just around the house just do our own improv bits in front of nobody.
Well, and this song was improv'd by Craig trying to figure out how many steps it would take to get to the football club match that he wanted to go to.
I was thinking about, we usually decide at the end of the episodes if the song is one hit thunder or if it's a one hit blunder. And I kind of think that we are probably all on the same page. This is one hit thunder. I don't know. Does anybody disagree with that?
Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, I might be the only one that's going full thunder on not just the song, but the band, the Proclaimers. But yes, right. Thunder for sure.
Yeah. I will say this. I will say, if you said, "Hey, Bacon, there's a Proclaimers concert down the street. Do you want to go check it out?" I'd be like, hell yes, I would like to go see a Proclaimers concert. They sound amazing. I would love to see them in concert.
Yeah, I would absolutely go see the Proclaimers live. Now that I've listened to this.
I'd agree with that. If it was free, I'd go see them for free.
Okay, how much would you pay? Would you pay it?
I'd pay
like $20?
Like a street festival? You know the street festivals where they shut down the street, you pay $20 to get it, or $5 donation.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'd pay $12 to see the Proclaimers. That's
that's a weirdly specific number, but I'll take
I'll pay 12. Or I'd pay 20 if you get a couple drinks with entry or something. But
I pay $30.
You pay $30 to see the Proclaimers. Damn.
Well, who's opening for them? Are they opening for somebody else? Who's opener?
It has to be another one hit wonder.
Dixie's Midnight Runners, who produced their first album.
Well, I'd definitely go to that.
Yeah.
I have $50.
I was gonna say tag team. Tag team's opening.
It's actually all four people who are on the chart. So you have to sit through Onyx, Tag Team, and UB40, but the Proclaimers is in that mix.
I would pay any amount of money to see that concert.
But my question, since I figured we were all gonna be on the same page of this song being Thunder, this is a big decision. Would you take Proclaimers 500 miles or Vanessa Carlton 1,000 miles?
I'd have to hear that one.
That piano part that opens 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
I would take over all of the Proclaimers, but I Would Walk 5,000 Miles doesn't have the da-da-da sing-along portion, which I think would always just slightly push me over the edge.
I'm going Vanessa Carlton all the way. That song's such a jam. I don't know, but they're both great. Maybe
I just
Vanessa
played it
Carlton.
for literally 1 second. 1 second. I know. Oh, yes, I know this song. I'm an idiot. Making my way downtown. Yeah, I mean, that piano jam is amazing, but I would still take 500 miles as an overall song. I enjoy 500 miles better.
Now, if you're asking like which concert I would go to Vanessa Carlton because she had, her the other song that may keep her from ever appearing on this show officially, Just a Day, Just an Ordinary Day. I also think that's a fucking jam.
Or what about White Houses? You don't know White Houses?
Listen, I've got her albums. Okay. I know her songs. I'm just talking about songs that most people would know.
Okay.
She just came out with a album May. Is it May or March? March of this year.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it was her or Michelle Branch. Album. One of them got into a relationship with somebody and then like didn't put out a record for like 10 years and then got divorced and put out a record right away. So like I don't know what the story is there, but like
both of them are still actively putting out music. Michelle Branch is in a duo now, I think. I forget exactly, but I like her too a lot. So.
Yeah, dude, Michelle Branch's first album with all those hits, that was like a hit factory for a little bit.
Yeah, she's great.
Any other thoughts that we have on the Proclaimers?
I'm out of thoughts on the Proclaimers.
I have one more.
Okay.
There's a song called Tuesday Afternoon, and in it, read these lyrics, and I want you to try not to think that he's not singing about his dick.
Okay.
Okay. This love is mine, and I give it to you gladly. If you don't want it, say, and I'll take it away and put it back in its place where I found it. And every now and then, I'll take it out again and turn it in my hands and look upon its madness. Then lead it from the room and show it to the moon. And remember, Tuesday afternoon.
That's, it's pretty amazing. I love I love thinking about him showing it to the moon.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Do you guys not show your penis to the moon? How else can you tell that you don't have a where penis?
Yeah. Oh, man.
So since the concept of where penises seems absolutely perfect for an episode of 91 Donkey Lane, before we sign off, Bacon, tell us a little bit about 91 Donkey Lane, where people can listen to it, so on, and etc.
91 Donkey Lane is an improvised comedy fantasy podcast where me and my real life roommate, Nate Lopez, each week do something really stupid. Something really stupid happens. A guest comes on. Basically, we create this giant world inside this magical apartment complex where we really waste everything that's given to us. We waste a monkey's paw immediately. We waste everything. It's a lot of fun. You can check us out. We're on all the podcasting apps. You could find us at 91donkeylane.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, do a bunch of show art and stuff like that. And then you could check out my YouTube channel, just Robert Bacon, little drawing of me. I got some animations on there. You check out my NFL uniform reviews. And that's it right now.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on the show. This is great.
Thanks
It's nice to meet
me,
you.
guys.
I've heard about you for a long time from Matt, and it's cool to talk to you, especially about the Proclaimers.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was a blast. Definitely, if you're listening to this, I would say check out more Proclaimers stuff. I think they're a good band.
Cool.
All right. This has been One Hit Thunder. One Hit Thunder is produced by Matt Kelly as part of the Geekscape Network and hosted by Chris Fafalios of the bands Punchline, Pack, and Another Cheetah. Underneath me, you're hearing Open Up off Punchline's debut album, Action. Visit punchline.com for news, merch, and other information. Also, speaking from the producer Matt side of things, I will be assisting on producing a live watch party for the ska documentary Pick It Up with the Inevitables, Vinny and Obi, the director of the film, Taylor Morden, and some other special guests this Saturday, August 15th. If you want to know how to join in on the fun, visit the store at skamovie.com for tickets and other information. And let us know your thoughts on the show by emailing us at onehitthunderpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app. And tune in next week for another episode of One Hit Thunder.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
What's up, everybody? I am Finn McKenty, host of the Punk Rock NBA podcast, part of the Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. My podcast is all about doing what you love for a living, and every week I sit down and talk to people who have done exactly that. For example, musicians like Tommy from Between the Buried and Me, Matt from Periphery, Lil Lotus and Shinigami, among many others, photographers, artists, designers, YouTubers like Glenn Fricker and Sarah Dici, and I unpack exactly how they got to where they are today with the goal of helping you do the same. So if that sounds cool, you can listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com, and I'll see you there.